Well, hello there. Welcome. Pull up a chair and I'll tell you about the show. This is Untameable. And it's for you if you're a no bullshit kind of person and you are done with constantly having to prove yourself, jump through other people's hoops and please them, and you want to experience the freedom and the power of living in the fullness of who you really are and who you want to be. I'm Hayley, your host. I'm a confidence and empowerment coach, a professionally trained actor, and a pole dancing potty mouth pom residing here in Australia. And I created the Untameable show as a place for candid, vulnerable, and at times risque conversation on all things empowered living and expression. This is where we challenge conditioning and the status quo, and where we step into the joy, the passion, and the power of our truth. Because let's face it, life is too short, so fuck playing small and fuck apologising for who you are. So if this sounds like exactly the kind of thing that is right up your alley, grab a chair, make a cuppa, and enjoy. So we're just kicking this episode off right now with no apologies whatsoever, because I'm like, should we just press record? Because there's already some cool stuff going on. Like I've got Cath here with me. Hello, Cath.
Hi.
Can you just show the audience at home what you just showed me and explain what it is?
It's a little C3PO. Why it's on my desk, I have no idea. But, we've got crystals. We've got little, protection vials. We've got a bit of incense, clearing spray, the altar's crystals. We've got crystals.
I love it. I am loving your whole vibe, your whole thing.
And I shout this painting out while we're here.
Yeah,
so my beautiful sister girl and best friend Kylie Armstrong, who is an Arunda woman who lives on Bunurong land. So Arunda is in Central Australia. Bunurong land is in Mornington Peninsula, down that way. She painted this, my business being the Loving Lotus, and my colours being green and pink. She painted that one for me. She's just such, oh my God, to see her artwork in the flesh blows your mind. It's so healing. So Kylie,
it's gorgeous. And for those of you who are listening to the YouTube show and not watching, no, it's not listening to YouTube. Well, you can listen to YouTube if you wanted to. Again, those of you who are listening on the podcast right now and you can't see, well, then you better get on over to our mailing list and subscribe so you can watch the episodes in full. So Cath, I'm going to share with the ladies. I'm going to go against all like podcast shoulds. Like, this is what you should do when you run a podcast.
Excuse me, Miss Hayley. What were we talking about the other day about should? Should is other people's expectations.
Exactly.
And if we live up to other people's expectations, hell no, sister.
No, we don't.
We don't.
Why I'm going against them right now, because normally people try and be all professional and, behind the scenes, podcast hosts will be like, hey, can you send me a bio, please? And then they'll like present it in a way as if they're not reading it, but I'm just totally going to read it because it's right here in front of me and I just have to read it to you as I saw it. So this is Cath. And do I pronounce your surname as Leask?
Oh my God, you got it right.
I did?
Trust the front door. No one ever gets it right.
But how? Okay, how? How do they not get it right?
Oh, fuck knows. Seriously.
How do they pronounce it?
Because people don't English very well, my friend.
Oh, man. I have to say, when I moved over to Australia, I thought there was a bit of a tenuous grasp on like grammar and stuff over here. I love Australia and I love you Australians. I'm just saying.
That's something to tell you. I've got something to tell you, love.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, no, just bad English.
Bad English. To be fair, sometimes my grip on grammar and stuff is like tenuous. So I'm just going to own that. And I'm going to read for you this incredible bio on the amazing Cath Leask, who is a gun-toting, ghost-whispering, gastronome. Yes, you heard that right. And I love that you actually wrote that. It's so cool. She's a psychic medium with a background in, get this, law enforcement. She's a champion pistol shooter. I want to hear about that, Cath. And a foodie extraordinaire who still moonlights in government. So this is Cath. And is there anything you'd like to add to that for the listeners at home?
I like to think I'm a foodie extraordinaire. The gastronome came in because we had a catering business. So my partner's a chef, and we have done a lot of cooking over the years. And when I was diagnosed celiac, I need to weasel that into there somewhere, we converted a lot of favourites to a celiac friendly. So we don't cook so much anymore. But yeah. Background is customs. I was a long-time customs officer, worked for a while at Victoria Police, did a little bit of a stint for a politician in Victoria, predominantly. So firearms is my background. So, and guns are good, right? And it was really good for my career. So I was the first female firearms instructor in customs. I was the only female for quite a long time. Ended up running one of their armories, moved to Canberra because of that job, and did national engagement training, safety testing across the country. And when I went to Victoria Police, I worked in that firearms sense. And while I was working in Victoria Police, this parliamentarian from the Shooters, Fishers, Farmers party, I met him at my gun club one night where I pure pistol shoot. And
wait, where you what? Where you
pistol shoot? Pew pew pistol shoot.
I love that. Where I pew pew pistol shoot. Pew, pew. Brilliant.
15 minutes after we met, he offered me a job. So, got the whole come and work for me. Needless to say, within 2 weeks, I was working for him, and it was probably one of my favourite jobs. Like, really, really cool. I know the people listening on the podcast won't be able to see that, but
check that out. Is that an award bling wall? That's award bling, medal bling.
They're all in a bag in the top of my wardrobe, and that was just all laid out on my bed one day just to get a photo of them all. So that was
offered. There? How many do you have?
Don't know.
Too many to count.
Yeah. Wow. I think my favourites, I hadn't shot for a while, and went down to New South Wales Police Games before COVID. It was just before the bushfires. So I love how we count backwards. Because of natural disasters. So it was that end of 2019, and I was doing all the scoring because our scorer person went on the fritz. I'm going through and I'm putting everybody all the scoring, and then I said, I think that score sheet over there, I think they're the winner. I didn't realise it was my score sheet. And I actually won outright, and you couldn't, happiest day ever. So I think it was 4 gold and 1 silver, maybe 2. But that's New South Wales Police, Queensland. Oh, no, that one was just New South Wales Police Games. But usually I shoot a national comp, which is Queensland Police, New South Wales, Vic Police, South Australia Police, Defence, and then sort of variants in Defence, so Army, Navy. And then you've got Customs / that's now Border Force. Sometimes we have fisheries people, and then we have a few corrections people, and sometimes some ambos. But such a great comp, so much fun, lots of shenanigans.
Love a good shenanigan.
So much fun. So, and honestly, the best part I think about shooting is the mental health aspects. There's a lot of stereotypes around shooting, and yes, I'm under no disillusion that I have this piece of machinery that could kill me dead, kill them dead, kill anybody dead. But when you do stand there on the firing line and I need to stand, focus, grip, sights, targets and beyond, sights. Oh, did I breathe? I got to remember how to breathe. What's the course of fire? You don't have time to think about all the crap that's going on in your life because it's this mantra, breathe, shoot, 6 shots, target 1,
This is the perfect really setup. This is the perfect setup, Cath, for the title of this episode, which is You Do You Boo. Right, you do you, boo. And talking of breaking stereotypes, the reason why this incredible woman is on this show is because this is what she's all about, breaking stereotypes. And you doing you, boo.
Yes.
And so we're going to kick things off on this subject, you do you, boo. What does that mean to you, Cath?
I think, and, it's funny, we kind of started to go down that little path just before in terms of should, because, should is just that word that you should. Well, who? I like to say you can call me they, and I shouldn't, make fun of, because, gender. We talk about, people talk about gender. They say they. I think they're onto something because they know everything. They.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to identify with a gender, they is an awesome gender
I reckon.
to identify with because they know everything.
Yes.
It's the best.
And quick little sidebar here. Speaking of they, I was watching, my husband was showing me something on YouTube about how like we potentially have two people inside us because there's the observer, like we are watching and viewing the behavior, but then there's like something else inside us that's doing the thing. And it's something to do with left brain, right brain. Like, guys, I'll have to find the link to this video and pop it in the show notes. Watch it and you'll see what I mean. But it totally buzzed my brain. I was like, oh my God, there could be two of me. If I'm observing, what am I observing? Who am I observing? Who is that?
And that goes even deeper because in a traditional sense, there's all this talk about the divine feminine and the divine masculine. And I find that it's so binary and none of us are binary. Like at all. And I really try to, particularly in my practice, avoid that terminology. So I tend to go for yin and yang. And if I do talk about feminine and masculine, I'll talk about stereotypically or traditionally, rather than, and even with tarot decks, like so many of them they're just so binary. They're just so straight. And I'm really excited.
Do you have any examples, but or do you not hang on to those kind of collections of cards?
They're just, it is just all of them. The majority of cards they don't consider it. But I bought a new deck last week and I'm really excited to get it. And it's called the Modern Witchcraft deck. And it's based on the traditional Rider-Waite, which is one of the most popular decks, but it's quite fluid. So, there's very, masc looking, very femme looking, very non-binary looking. There is, the pride flag in there as well.
Oh, awesome.
So I'm really excited I can't wait. I wish I had them. I wish they were here today. I'm just so
well, then we'll just have to get you back, right? Yeah. Follow-up episode.
Yeah. So we're talking about that breaking down the shoulds and breaking down the, talking about you do you. I think, what does a psychic or a medium look like? Well, not this. My hair screams masc lesbian for a start. And, I look at it and go, but I just don't fit into the straight. Like, yes, I'm white and I'm cis white. I am very feminine, like female. I am female, like that part of it. But in terms of, I confuse people. I mean, not that my sexuality is anybody's business, but
ain't nobody's business.
I look at it and I think, well, I am pan because somebody's gender identity or non-binary identity, that does not define my attraction to them. But I am demi because I need to have an attraction or a connection with someone. And I look at it and I go, well, I can't be pandemic because that's one C away from a pandemic, for crying out loud. So.
Okay, so I wonder, Cath, for those who are listening or watching and they're not quite familiar with these terms, do you mind sharing just a little bit more around that? Because part of our ethos on this show is about getting out of the cage, and we believe that having more of an awareness and understanding of these kinds of terms is really helpful because we live in a world where we have to socialize with each other.
Absolutely.
And if we can understand each other a bit more and the words that we use, we can all get along a little bit more. So do you mind just sharing more around this terminology for our audience?
Well, I guess, and I mean, by no means am I an expert in the, LGBTQIA plus community. So, but I do have a lot of friends in that community as well. And I guess for me, let's go way back. I was awfully bullied as a child, like really, really bullied, awfully sad childhood. Don't need to go down that rabbit hole today, but I think for me it shaped one of those values around inclusion, no man, no woman, no person left behind. Yeah. And I don't get it right all of the times, and man, I'm Gen X. I fall back into some of that vernacular from time to time. But I guess for me is that when you see someone on a soul level, that you see pure love, you see that person in its rawest essence, and it shouldn't matter what the outside is. When you start delving into past life work, you can be staring at someone who is your ex, current, mother, brother, insert person in your life here. But when you get past that, I guess, structure of society and go, this person was my lover or mother or partner or whatever in the past life, you can kind of transcend those. I don't know, you appreciate more the differences between us rather than them being a barrier. So finding a way to be inclusive and treating people, that whole judge a book by its cover kind of thing, we still more than ever we see that. And let's just get to know each other and see each other on a soul level rather than, who gives a shit? Like, how does it affect your time in the Big Brother house if someone identifies as, or someone's love connection?
Exactly right. Yeah. Exactly right. So I'm really curious, Cath, in what ways do you use your work to help people break out of their cage, to help people overcome these shoulds and the stereotypes and discover more about who they are? Because I'm picking up a sense that there's a lot of that in your work, that kind of deep self-connection beyond labels.
Yeah. Look, like I said, I don't get it right all of the time. I am still human and I am fundamentally flawed, and sometimes my mouth goes off half cocked. See what I did there? But
I love it.
I swear the majority of people that sit at my table for readings, and to be honest, my readings kind of encompass that they're multi-layered. It's not just sitting there tossing the cards around. And this is going back to that should and breaking through stereotypes. I don't look like a psychic or a medium, but the universe, I'm not looking for actors. It's what should a psychic look like in the same way as what should a lesbian look like? Yes, my hair screams math les, but it's breaking through that and just, this is me. I like that song in The Greatest Showman. This is me.
God, I love that. It's like an anthem in our school. I put that song on and I just see the uplift and the power in all of our members, like claiming, fuck playing small, fuck pretending, fuck staying in a box.
Absolutely. And I see these amazing humans that sit at my desk and, and I embed the healing into the space. And sometimes it's a bit mentorship. Sometimes it's spirit connection, the cards and what's happening. And, I'm not going to not tell you if there's challenges or struggles coming up, but I am going to give you hope and happiness and healing. And I'm going to give you the, things that, look, this is going to happen, but you can ignore it. You'll eventually get there, but then you're going to go, on those LA highways all over the place to get to that point. But you can get there quicker if these are the things that you acknowledge and recognize. But nearly everyone I see is standing on this precipice of massive change, really stepping into their power, this is me moment. And sometimes people just need a little shove and, to sit in, to be trusted with that journey, to be, considered that person to, give, I'm going to say advice or give that insight. What a privilege, what an honor.
So is.
And if I can just for a second go, I've just given them that little fluff, fluff their wings a little bit so that they can fly. Wow, what a blessing, and sometimes that's, people that have had those upbringings where they didn't have anyone to fluff their wings. They were the last kid picked for the dodgeball, or, they come from trauma. They come from, whatever awful construct that existed. Sometimes that's all we need. Someone to say, I see you and you are fucking awesome,
Yeah. Oh God, I love this. I trust, and I know that viewers and listeners at home are going to be gobbling this up. I know you're going to be sitting here going, yes, that's all I ever needed and wanted, was someone to just hold space for me where I had permission to be seen for all of me, where I wasn't being pushed or pressured to identify with a particular career or direction in life. I mean, fucking hell. I look back and I'm like, how the hell were we supposed to know at 16, 17 years old who we wanted to be and what we wanted to do? I'm 35 and I'm still figuring that out.
Word, mic drop. I say exactly the same thing. How the hell at 17? And then when you don't get what you want at 17, it's the end of the world, because we really don't have that maturity to separate from it. I mean, Jesus, dude, I'm 49 and I still haven't worked my shit out. All I know is I just want to do this. I just want to be that guy that fluff someone's feathers, and you know, there's that terminology around about being people pleasers, or you know, look, it's okay to be a people pleaser if you get joy out of helping other people. How is that a bad thing? If that's what really melts your butter and help or spins your wheels. I had a guy say that to me years ago. Oh, you spin my wheels.
I've just got an impression of him with one of those like fireworks that spins around like this.
Yeah. Oh, look, seriously. And that's yeah. Like, if we can just allow people to see other options, you know, look through other windows, perhaps those sliding doors moments, like even and you know, the one thing is you can't fuck it up. Like, you've got two paths in front of you and you go, I'm going to go down that. I'm going to do it. I'm committing to it. And you get halfway down, you go, I fucked up. Change lanes. Change lanes, because you don't forget everything, every last bit of experience. You don't forget it. You reinterpret it, you rehash it, you remold it, and you keep using it. But if you go down a path that you completely change and then you think, I've really made a mistake here, get back on the other path. It's still there, you know. But nothing's ever a mistake. That some of my exes maybe, but
same, yeah. I relate.
It was like that joke, you know, the COVID, about losing your taste with COVID. I can't blame that for my taste, you know, having no taste in my exes.
I'm loving this conversation.
Oh God. Anyway.
What's really standing out to me is the impression I get is that, you know, at the core of things, that people are able to guide themselves. People are able to choose. People have everything that they need in them. You're not telling them this is what you should do and this is how you should do it, because anytime we're in that kind of space, everyone ends up getting in a pickle.
Yeah.
And then we never learn to trust ourselves.
And that is just such a magical segue, because one of the things I teach, because I do teach psychic development classes, but the first thing I teach people is reconnecting with their intuition or their gut instinct. And our heads just drown out gut feeling or instinct or intuition, because our head just doesn't stop chattering, and we're on devices and we're working and we're doing this and people are nagging. All of this, you know, head space we forget, and it is just so simple. And most people have played around with a pendulum, you know, for the people at home, you know, you've got a crystal or a wedding ring on a chain, and it sits on the end of the chain. And you know, probably more people my age remember it from our parents doing it when someone was pregnant, and they do the wedding ring on the chain over the belly.
Seen it in TV, yeah.
Yeah. And that pendulum that you can see, if you ever watch Charmed and they do the scrying on the map and it'd go to wherever they were, it's the same philosophy that you can do with your body. And there's two ways. One way is the decision making, but the one thing I start with is, you know, just closing your eyes, taking a deep breath in, just allowing that little sort of feeling of just letting go wash over you. Your eyebrows just softening, the tongue drop from the roof of your mouth, let your shoulders just, nestle in their little spots, and look for the little pinprick of light. So sometimes when you close your eyes, there's a little pinprick, might be white, might be black. Some people see colors, some people see mists, whatever it might be. Sort of focus in on that. And I like to sort of visualize it coming into a ball and breathing it in and bringing it into that solar plexus space just below your rib cage, around where your tummy sits.
I'm doing this as you speak.
Beautiful.
Cath, I want to experience this as well. And if you're listening or watching at home, do it along with us.
And as you breathe in, visualize that ball as it nestles in your solar plexus. That's your solar plexus chakra. It's yellow. It's your divine yang. So if we're talking traditional binary terms, masculine, it's the warrior energy. It's your instinct. It's your self-worth. It's confidence. And it's, trust in self. And it's the fire in your belly. So visualize with each breath coming in that ball of color or that ball of light.
Mine's a sun. Mine is a glowing sun, and it has. And to speak to this, anyone who's like, oh, that's just a ring light. If you're watching the YouTube version, I've done something similar in the dark without a ring light in my face, and I always connect to the same thing. It's a sun. A glowing orange sun.
Beautiful. And that is perfect. It could be a sunflower. And just sit in that energy. So what I like to do is bring it out even further. So from your abdomen, you could even bring it to fill the space around you, let it seep into your aura and just sit in that, that space, and you can pick up on what is yours and what's not yours. Now, to connect back into that gut feeling or that gut instinct, I generally start with 3 yes questions. So for me, it would be, my name is Cath, and I would feel that like butterflies in my tummy. I drive a Volkswagen, and I'd feel that in my tummy. And, I own the Heart to Heart Center, and I'd feel that.
So these are 3 things that without a doubt, they're absolutes for us. They're
absolutely. Okay. And after each question, you just, how does that feel? Then you switch to your no questions. So you know that they are going to be absolutely incorrect. Like for me, it's, I identify as male, or I drive a Maserati, or I live.
I wish.
I live in South Africa. And for me, the feeling is this little, almost like, when you get a bit of anxiety and you feel it in your chest. Yeah, I feel this little jolt in my chest, in the top of my chest.
Okay.
So for me,
I want to do these now, Cath.
Okay.
I'm like on the edge of my seat, and as anyone who's into like Myers-Briggs and things like that, I'm an ENFP, and so I need to experience something to learn it, and then I go inward to connect with how does this feel for me. So I'm like, I can't just listen to you. I need to
do it. Yeah, absolutely.
So I'll do my 3 yeses.
So take that deep breath in and visualize the big ball of light and feel it nestle into that solar plexus space where your belly is, at the top of your bottom of your rib cage, top of your belly. And with each breath in, visualize that beautiful ball of color just growing to fill your abdomen space. And as you take that next breath in, perhaps you like to reach it out just into your aura to fill your whole torso. And sit with that feeling for a second. And when you're ready, whether you want to do it out loud or in your mind, ask yourself 3 questions, giving your time in between each one to digest the feeling of yes. So questions that are definitely yes.
My name is Hayley. I was born in the United Kingdom. I have a younger brother called Jay. Oh, I feel all of these like fluttering in my heart. I feel a warmth in my face and a buzz. Okay, that's awesome. I will do my no question.
Now, yes, definite no's.
Definite no's. Okay. I am 56 years old. No, I'm not.
So where you feel
that was like a recoiling. Okay.
There we go.
Okay. Next one. I have black eyes. Okay, I'll go for a third one.
Okay.
I have $1 million in my bank account. No, I don't. Okay. What's coming up is there was a recoiling in all of those no's. There was a, this is fake, there's a recoiling, a contraction. Some of them I wanted to laugh at, literally, whereas the others, there was a falling into, an expansion, a love, a yes. Oh, this is so cool, Kat.
And you can do the same thing. I mean, this is just a necklace I wear that just makes it easy, but you can do the same thing. And every time I do the exercise, it knows my first question and it starts rocking already to give me my name is Cath. So I need to, switch up the questions. But then it knows I haven't even said it, but I'm like, I'm just going to ask one question and go for my nose. It's already going to the nose because it knows what question, which I don't even know what I'm going to ask. I just know the answer is going to be no. Now, you can do that with your body as well. So what you just did in terms of tapping in, but you could stand there. Yes, generally is like just going forward and no is back, but you stand, in the police stance, your feet, knees, hips, arms by the side, and just ask yourself a question if you need to make decisions, and you'll go forward if it's a yes. Of course, have your eyes shut. No, if you go backwards. So the body pendulum. But a good way to use the one, the one that you just practiced then is also something as simple as, set in your mind, okay, I like sorbet and I like Quilton. So I don't know what.
By the way, for non-Australian viewers, they are brands of toilet paper.
I'm going to, is it sorbet or toilet paper? I'm going to buy which one's on special, and then go to the shops, go to Test Care and, have see if it comes up. Like you get little things like that. But then the big things in terms of when it comes to should I take that job or, should I break up with my boyfriend? That practice starts to bring you back into feeling, the answers rather than your brain. So your brain is always brain is ego. So it's going to try and convince you, but you don't want to look like an idiot now, do you? Your heart is always going to protect you from, hurt. Yes, follow your heart, but, when you hold back on things, it's because your heart's going, well, remember we tried that last time and you got a bit hurt, but your gut never lies. There's a reason why we say trust your gut, trust your instincts. And, I have a funny thing that usually 3 days out before of something big happening, I'll feel it. And then I'll be like, oh, something's coming in 3 days, and something always comes. So, and I love teaching that. And like you, that beautiful, the joy that came with the realization. And I see this in my students all the time. And that's the first thing we start before we start going down the path of what is clairvoyance or, tapping into the clairaudience, which is, hearing. Clairvoyance is the seeing. Clairsentience is the feeling. The gustance, tasting. Some people taste. Clairsalience, smelling. I smell perfume. I smell smoke. I smell coffee. I smell grease. There's certain things I smell. But it's a really good practice just to get in the everyday life. But when you step into this kind of work in terms of the psychic space, and then when you do spirit connection, a lot of how you work psychically is kind of reflected anyway. So if you work psychically and you see the messages, you'll see them from spirit. If you work audiently, you'll hear the messages. Yeah. People ask me and I'm like, I'm not sure, because I'm not sure if I see and hear it and then I just feel it, or I feel it and then that creates an image or a sound. I don't know.
But you trust it. You trust it is the thing. This is you doing you. Name of this episode, You Do You, Boo.
Absolutely.
And everything I'm getting from you, Cath, and what you're sharing is those of you at home, regardless of what you believe, regardless of what you've had experience with, there is so much benefit in learning, well, how can I tune into my body? It's not just the brain, but there is a whole heap of information in the body. And there are so many books written on this, and we store experience and emotion in our body. Cath is pulling up a book right now, The Secret Language of Your Body. And who's that by, Cath? Inna Segal. Inna Segal. Our body holds and stores. We need to fucking tap into that shit, because from personal experience, and I'm sure a lot of you can relate, anytime I've tried to think my way through what is the right thing for me and I'm ignoring my body because the world tells me, the analytical, logical, rational world that receives a lot more reputation, more attention, more legitimacy, says, oh, I have to think my way out of this. And if it's not logical and I can't rationalize it, how can I trust it? And we've had this over generations, we've had this disconnection from this incredible instrument, which is our body. Now, you listen to it when you're in doubt and fear. So why not fucking listen to it when you are in courage and love and trust? You know what I mean?
Yeah, because when you're scared, you don't stop to think about it. You get the fuck out.
Exactly.
And, you know, what I love about this book, The Secret Language of Your Body, this is my Bible when I do healing works, particularly with the body talk stuff. And something that comes up, this is so simple. It's so complex, but it's so simple. Like the body and the brain is so smart. And, you know, the brain, this is the thing, is you see a doctor. Now, I'm not saying don't go and see a doctor if you have a heart issue, but generally if you see a doctor for your heart, he treats your heart. But your heart works in conjunction with your lungs. The blood can't get around the body without, you know, the blood can't get around without the heart, but then the oxygen from the lungs can't get around the body without the heart. Like, it's also interlinked. So, and the brain controls it all. Like, you know, it's this holistic model. So when we start bringing in, you know, emotion, you know, our energetic health, our spiritual health, our mental health, emotional health, and this is 5,000-year-old medicine based on Chinese medicine, the lungs is where we store grief. So what happens is we have a really shitty thing happen, you know, trauma happens, and we're all busy. We're all, you know, particularly us Gen Xers, we're stiff upper lip, you know. And
I have to say, us elder millennials as well. Absolutely. Like, I'm coming in there after you. Like, I relate.
Absolutely. You know, we open up the filing cabinet drawer in our brain and we put the experience in the filing cabinet, and then we store the trauma, the actual, you know, grief in our lungs. Then we might have a bit of guilt because we feel bad because we blame ourselves. That's what we do. And we put that in the kidneys. But also there's a bit of anger there as well because, you know, we're women, we've got PMS, whatever. So we pop that in the liver.
That's a whole other episode.
That's right. And then every shitty thing that happens into the filing cabinet, and, you know, we store another bit of grief here and another bit of grief there, and we've still got all that grief from our childhood. And then what happens is it falls apart. Our lungs get so full. We're waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning because 3 to 5 is the grief wake-up time. And we should be sleeping. We should be sleeping at that time. So you can imagine for shift workers and stuff how their body clock can be really messed up. I say to people, if you're having those 3 to 5 wake-ups and your brain ticks in because the filing cabinet's exploded and you're reliving conversations from 5 years ago because I should have said to her and laid down, and you're thinking, why the fuck am I reliving something from 5 years ago because the filing cabinet's exploded? Breathe, just breathe, because you know what? We breathe through childbirth. We breathe through pain. You know, breath, when we're in flight or fright mode, we go, so we breathe and bring it in. I mean, I go down a whole path of having my own chat show, a bit like Ellen DeGeneres. You get a reading, everybody gets a reading. But, yeah, I make up scenarios in my head. That's the Pisces in me, daydreaming in the night. But by just going through that process of breathing can help just process some of the grief. Look, I'm not going to say let go. I'm not going to say release. Some things are too big. Some traumas will always stick with us, but we do need to go through that energetic shredding of the filing cabinet in our head, but also this purge. Yesterday, like the big energies this weekend, we had
the moon. There's moon shit going on right now. I got an article sent to me by one of our team in the school who they're super into all of that, and I'm getting into it now.
Well, it was new moon. We had the eclipse. We had Samhain, which is the southern hemisphere Beltane. So Beltane is, usually, today's Beltane, whereas Samhain in the northern hemisphere is Halloween. So we're opposite. So there's all this massive letting go energies, and I really, really struggled yesterday. Like I couldn't work it out. And I did this little money pot. I don't know if you can just see it for those people watching the YouTube.
Whereabouts? Oh yeah, it looks like a little cast iron pot. Yes.
So it was a little money spell, and and because one of my best friends, she's a green witch, and so she sent me this little thing, and it did a little invites abundance in. And I said to her, I feel really crap. And there was a situation that I had with someone that really disrespected my boundaries, and she said, call your energy back in. So under the new moon on Saturday night, I did this calling of my energy back in. So it's where you've poured your energy into and it's been disrespected. You've been used and abused. And
This is landing, Cath.
And I can share this with you because it was a TikTok of all things. And I did that in the middle of the night on Saturday night, of course, when the new moon is at its darkest. And I felt it come smashing in through my solar plexus to the point I started to feel a bit ill. So I'm breathing through it, just going, oh my God, what is happening? You can't make this shit up because something is happening energetic right now. And my whole body, like you were just saying when you were doing the tap in, I felt like everything was coming at me a million miles. So, because I don't make mistakes once or twice, I do it 4 or 5 times just to make sure that, I've learnt the lesson.
Yep, ditto.
I set out.
The more I have a philosophy that the more mistakes you can make and the more you can fail, the faster you're going to learn, the more you can learn. Life is short. Let's make as many mistakes and have as many failures as we can, as fast as we can, so we can then have more of the gold from that.
Absolutely. Well, I went outside and I thought, I'm going to just do that again. So maybe how I'm feeling, so I went out and I did a bit of grounding and I lost my shit. Like I'm talking, oh my God, sobbing on the front step. I was angry. I was mourning. I was like, all this energy was just ricocheting. See what I did there? Throughout my body. And I just had to sit there and roll with it. And, my little girl ended up coming out. She's 4 and she sat next to me and, she just said, oh, Mummy, I just want to help you. And it was just so cute. So we sat there and had a chat and I kind of like started to, find my way back. By the time I went to bed last night, I was that kind of, you've broken up with your boyfriend and you've cried for 3 days straight kind of tired. That was the kind of tired I had.
Oh, wow.
I woke up this morning bouncing off the walls. Like I've got space in my space. I've got space in my space.
This space in my space. Bringing this back to you do you, boo.
Yeah.
This work that we're talking about, that Cath is sharing her experience and genius zone around, is part of us stepping into who we really are, trusting our intuition. And so I'm going to get out of this fucking cage and I'm going to play by my rules. Is we do need to put in the dirty grunt work of purging. You use the word purge. I've done lots of purging and I didn't do it before because I was under the belief, in air quotes, if you're listening, that if I do that, then I'm going to let myself go. It's never going to stop. And I'm just going to end up in a heap and out of control. However, that was happening to me by resisting and holding on anyway. So I was like, I got to let this shit go. It is disgusting. I can't hold on to it anymore.
And our trauma does not define us. It does not make us who we are. It contributes to the lessons that we learn. But, you know, we all do it. We all go through this journey of wearing it like a badge of honor, and we hold on to it because we believe it defines us. But when we get to that point that we can say, okay, yeah, that was a really fucking shitty thing that I had to deal with, and I'm going to deal with that, like, you know, a whole other episode, but I've been, you know, I'm the survivor of some horrific violence. Let's just say I'm lucky to be alive, that kind of violence, family violence, you know, and it's something that you do bury deep. And it's like, you know what, there are parts of that will trigger me, and I'll be impacted until the day I die. And, you know, you hear people talk about terms like shadow work and having to face up to it. And for me, that's a little bit of toxic spirituality, because when you have looked, you know, like hell in the eyes, you know, particularly for survivors of horrible violence, it's really hard to face up to it. Like, you know, because as soon as you start talking about it, or something is triggering you, you can go and spiral and go down that rabbit hole again. But if you practice self-care, and I say to people, sit on the couch and watch Lucifer, watch The Witcher, eat your Tim Tams, you know, drink a cocktail.
This is really important, because there will be viewers and listeners who have similar traumatic experiences. And this is why with our work in the school, we always have like a triage process. So anyone who has that kind of heavy trauma, we recommend, if you haven't done work on that yet, go and do work on that, because because we do shadow work, but if you've got buried deep trauma that hasn't been, you can't come into the school and touch any of that stuff yet. So we're very mindful of this, and I'm really glad you're speaking to it, Cath.
It's it's that, like, and I'm the last person that can tell another person what to do, you know. But I just, there are a lot of people in similar positions to you or I, and there's a lot of gatekeeping in all industries. There's gatekeeping in the spiritual industry, and there are people that will say, you must do it like this, and you must face up, and you must do shadow work, and you must do this. And I'm like, well,
it's not a one size fits all.
No, it's not. And when shadow work or this facing up to your demons can actually put you into a really, really bad space, whether that's in hospital or no, because at the end of the day, that duty of care, that is ultimately what's the most important thing. And I know that I'm 100%. Very particular with who I talk about my journey with, have no qualms with, but not everybody is ready to hear, because my story is it's very confronting, and I don't tell people for the I'm so sorry or are you okay, because I am fine, I'm good. But when the time presents itself and the person who needs it, I talk about what I went through to show them, see, this is where I am, I got through it, you'll get through it. You know, you are strong. You are the storm. You are still here. You know, this situation did not defeat you. You are a motherfucking goddess warrior.
I love it. It didn't defeat you. It doesn't define you. You don't have to wear it as a badge of honor. And you can use this as an opportunity to transform, to bring in things like self-compassion, like compassion for yourself, the parts of you you've wanted to connect to.
And the most important thing is, when you're ready to talk about it, when you talk about it, no matter how you trip over it, how you get upset, when you talk about it, you are healing yourself, and you are empowering other women to share their stories, because we have been silenced for generations. And when we speak up, we are empowering our sisterhood and our, you know, femme identifying sisters as well, whatever the gender proper term is in that, for our, to stand up and tell their stories as well, you know, like.
It's so important. It's so important. It's part of us reclaiming who we are, in terms of who we say that we are. Like I'm loving this conversation. And what I'd love to do, Cath, is have a different spin on the conversation now, because we have a couple of segments in the show and we can pick and choose what one we do. I have a segment called Fuck That and a segment called Risque Roundtable, but I reckon Fuck That would be a really good one to do with the topic of you. You want to do both? Okay, let's do both. Let's do so following on from this incredible conversation, and let us know, like hit us up on Instagram and also the YouTube channel. Let us know what you've loved, like give Cath heaps of love. Like, is it cool, Cath, if anyone has any questions that
100%.
Yeah, is that cool? I can follow up.
And
Awesome.
And if I said the binary, non-binary gender terms wrong, please educate me. Please inform me, because I'm still finding my way, because it's so
same
big.
here. Yeah, same here. Yeah, and we are always open to be informed.
And if I fucked it up, I'm sorry. Please forgive me.
We know you're coming from a place of such love and also inclusivity, which is why you fucking rock, Cath. So let's do a round of fuck that. So fuck that is a declaration of all of the things or whatever things you can think of where you don't put up with anymore, where you're like, that thing, fuck that. You know what? This thing, fuck that. And this is an opportunity and invitation for you at home as well to make your own declarations. And if there's any of these that you resonate with, we invite you to declare with us, you know what, that thing, fuck that. So in the spirit of you do you, boo, from your own journey, what are the things you want to publicly declare fuck that to right now, Cath?
Oh, Jesus. Self-hating. Fuck that.
Fuck self-hating.
Self-doubt. Fuck that. Trying to live up to other people's expectations. Fuck that. Oh God, geez. Wow, what else? Throw some at me, Jesus. Sorry if you like Jesus.
No apologies. This show is about apology. No apology. Right? Yes, fuck that. Fuck apologizing.
I am woman, hear me roar.
Yes.
Oh my God. Yeah, not putting myself, that nobody puts baby in the corner. Yeah, like just not dimming my shine. You know, what's that? There's this amazing saying about, the flower. A flower doesn't not bloom because of the flower not next to it doesn't bloom, or something like that. I'm really bad with quotes. But yeah, dimming my shine or dimming my sparkle because, somebody's expectations again. So yes, fuck that.
Yeah, fuck all those expectations, right? Fuck that. Yeah, fuck that shit. How about any you would love to declare on behalf of your younger self?
Oh my gosh. Here's a big one, and trigger warning for people that are survivors of childhood abuse. Blaming myself or feeling guilty for the things done to me by those that were meant to protect me. Fuck that.
That's a huge one.
Yeah.
Thank you for speaking to that, Cath. That's really important. And
that's a whole other episode.
Yeah, it is. It's a whole other episode. And it's important, right? Because we can go risque and fun, but also deep as well. Like it's all parts of the journey. There's really no point hiding a load of stuff. And thank you for the trigger warning as well for our listeners and viewers.
And look, I probably should have jumped that in, talking about family violence as well. But I guess, a lot of I think the YouTubes and podcasts that you're doing, Hayley, it is to talk about and shine a light on a lot of these things that are triggers for us and get us talking about it. Because, I remember, so pregnancy loss trigger warning, remember back in the day as an elder millennial, as a Gen X, in my lifetime, it was still that taboo. Many of us women still suffer with just those words to say that they had a choice to terminate a pregnancy. Like we didn't talk about it,
No, it wasn't talked about. It wasn't talked about it at school. Like there was just this massive shame because it was a void, like it didn't exist. And even now, when there's conversations around children and having children, and I have all this stuff come up because I still don't know. If I want children, and I'm still of the mind, oh my God, if I got pregnant right now, I probably wouldn't want to have it. And
the stereotype and other people, this is that other people's expectations that we should be guilty or carry guilt, or how dare you? And then of course, if we delve into our retired Catholic, backgrounds, for those that were brought up in a Catholic home, that was the big taboo as well. And so as I guess Gen Xers and elder millennials, and I can't speak for the other generations that watch, but we were the generation that were seen but not heard. Our parents wanted children, but they didn't want to deal with us.
Yeah.
And if you were outside of that norm, you are so lucky. We were roaming the streets till after the streetlights.
Yes, I remember that.
No one knew where we were. We left to our own devices. We walked to school from 6 years old. Like nowadays, we've pretty much got tracker devices on our kids. We know what they're doing. We know what they're watching. So but on the upside of that, we are fiercely independent. And yes, we have to break through those because part of it was stiff upper lip and, be the bigger person and not.
Well, being British, I can tell you all about that. That indoctrination growing up.
But that silenced our voices and our confidence in speaking up. So there's a whole generation or two of us that really struggle. And this is why I admire young people today, because they are so fierce. They stand in their power, conforming the binary structure of genders, the sexual representation, or but they stand up for what's wrong and they speak out. And I'm just so proud for them, for finding their voice, because here I am 50 next year and I'm still trying to find my voice. I'm still working on it. So
we can learn a lot from the younger generations coming through, and this is where I love to think of a little dose of resourceful, functional humility, where just because you're older doesn't mean that we know everything. And also just because we've been taught something when we were younger or at school doesn't mean that it's right or still applies today. So being kind of pliable and flexible and open in that way.
Yeah. And I've got my eldest son is 29. We've got a 29-year-old, 28-year-old. I've got an 18-year-old and a 4-year-old. Yeah, my Perry baby. She's and they all bring such different learning and such different experience. Like I swear my eldest is a Gen X in a 29-year-old's body. But like he is so responsible, and then just like the differences between them, because like I've got different generations with them, but I learn, so much from them and their friends. And I love that. I never want to stop learning. I never want to be that, that old chick that thinks that she knows it all, I just
back in my day.
I know.
God forbid we become those people.
Yeah. And just like, the journey of, learning about, so my boys, their father was Torres Strait Islander. So Saibai Island right up the top, 4 kilometres off the Papua New Guinean coast. And recently I found out that I think my 2 times great grandmother, we think she was Wiradjuri. And I'm on a journey to so Kylie, who painted the beautiful painting behind me, she's got some connections, some kinship connections in Wagga. So we look like we can find some of that out. But I've always been so fortunate in my life because I've lived in all these incredible communities in Cape York, and I've had this strong engagement with the Torres Strait Islander community in Cairns and a number of Aboriginal communities across Australia. But it's always something I'm trying to learn, what country am I on, and learn something about that. And I'm so grateful for the experiences that I've had and that connection to culture and country, because not a lot of non-Indigenous Australians have that. But it's all part of that inclusivity as well. And every day I try and connect with a different country. I've got the big IATSIS map, so that's the Aboriginal and Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander their Australian Government Department for Aboriginal Islander Studies, I think, and they've got this amazing map of all the countries, of all the different countries across Australia. And I pick one and I go and Google it and I go and learn about it.
You're awesome.
We are so lucky, this country rich with such incredible culture.
It's called the lucky country.
Yeah,
right? As someone who, like, I wasn't born here, I'm fortunate enough that I could choose to come here, and the visa process despite taking a long time, was honestly fairly simple for me. That is a privilege that I own and I'm grateful for. And part of me doing me here in Australia is also remaining open, inclusive, never getting to a point where I'm like, I know it all. Oh, I've got this, I know it all. Never thinking I understand everything. Is, again, having that like healthy, functional humility. And more than that, it's a curiosity.
Yeah.
It's a curiosity and openness, which would probably be like in terms of me in this episode, my sort of final words to you out there would be super curious and open for all that you can be as you do you.
Absolutely. Yeah. 100%.
Do you have any final words for us, Cath? I'm going to lean into you.
Well, I guess for me, what was going on in my mind was, for me, I have the privilege of being this white. So, and having the voice that I have. So, trying not to speak for others, but to help amplify their voices. So regardless, so whether it's from that, helping amplifying Indigenous voices, help amplifying the voices of people in the LGBTIQA plus community, amplifying people that haven't had the privileges that I've had, and in amongst all the shitty things that have happened in my life, I've had a million more really amazing things. And I guess that's where, focusing on, oh my gosh, every day above ground.
I love it, Cath. I love you. I trust listeners and viewers out there also love as much as I do. And God, your nails are just awesome. We just have one more glimpse of your amazing nails. Look at this. We can have such deep conversation and also just appreciate these nails. Dem nails.
Dem nails.
Hashtag dem nails.
These are the motherfucking new nails. So this is my bestie, the witch. She does my nails, and they're the chakra colors because we're doing chakras. So yeah.
Love them. You're amazing. So, Cath.
You are. Thank you so much for having me.
I would reach through the screen and give you a big squishy cuddle and kiss right now. Can you share with our viewers and listeners where they can go to find out more about you? And just I would invite all of you to get obsessed with Cath.
Well, on all the socials. I'm on all the socials. It might be a Gen X, but I've got the social media vibe of a millennial,
including TikTok. I haven't even figured out TikTok yet. I love TikTok. Some millennial haven't figured out TikTok, haven't figured out Snapchat, never used Tinder.
I've never used, oh God, I have never used Tinder. I love TikTok because it's not, so when you set up a business page on, say, Facebook, you are really heavily reliant on your personal networks to engage and share. So, it's a slow burn. TikTok, you can jump on and you've just got 8 billion people around the planet, and 7 billion of them, I reckon, are on TikTok because there's that many videos. It's incredible. And you're so anonymous on there, and anyone can make it. And you see famous people start accounts and they've got 2,000, followers. And then you've got some random person from gosh knows where, and they've got 1 million, 2 million, 8 million followers. So it's like anybody can be TikTok famous, but it's just fun. It is an entertainment platform. But, I set out to do readings and stuff on there, but you know what? I like to do all the funny trends, and it's just a scream. But yes, I'm on, I think, Facebook, The Loving Lotus, Cath Leask, The Loving Lotus on Insta, and I think, you can find me as Loving Lotus on TikTok. Website, I think it's the-loving-lotus. And for those people that live locally in Canberra, Queanbeyan, Ngunnawal country, I have a centre out at Queanbeyan. It's called the Heart to Heart Psychic Centre, and of course, on the socials, Heart to Heart Centre, and website as well. That's
amazing.
Me.
You rock. Can we give it up to Cath?
Do the happy dance. Shake the booty.
Oh, I love it. I love that shimmy.
The bat wings.
You are going to challenge me on my shimmy. You're going to give me a run for my money. I used to be a Zumba instructor. Oh, check out that shimmy. Oh, the shimmy battles. I should have a new feature, the shimmy battles.
Yes.
The hardest And the fire kind of hurts my boobs.
we might hit right on a few porn channels after that.
If I'm gonna do shimmy battlers, I need a better bra.
I've got one of those Rockwear, the Rockwear ones that hold you in, so you don't.
Yeah. I will get a Rockwear bra. Cath, thank you so much. This has been amazing. We trust you enjoyed and loved the episode. Go follow Cath and get obsessed with her, and reach out to her if you want to chat with her, work with her.
I love that we were completely unscripted and we did not know what we were going to talk about.
We didn't have a fucking clue. I was like, okay, I'm just going to hit record. Done. Yeah. Go. Episode done, in the bag. Trust you loved it. That is it from me and Cath on this episode of Untameable. Mwah. Tatty bye, darlings. What a great episode. Wasn't it awesome? I trust you got heaps of gold out of that one and that you enjoyed the tips. Do let me know how you go with those, by the way. Hit me up with a DM on Instagram at all lowercase letters, _embodied_woman. I'll pop it in the show notes with everything else. Subscribe if you love us, rave about us to others, and leave us a review anywhere you want, really, so more humans can benefit from these important, powerful conversations that we are having. We're trying to start a movement here. #Untameable, #FuckPlayingSmall, and we'd love for you to be a part of it. And if you might perchance like to be on this end of the screen or the airwaves, depending if you're listening or watching, with me, and you've got a story to tell or something important to share around what we're all about here at Untameable, then you can apply to be a guest. Yes, just check the show notes. As I said, everything is there. So until next time, beautiful, take care and enjoy the rest of your day.